Every trader talks about pips, but most of the beginner traders don't even know how to count or even calculate those pips. And that is why they fail to calculate profit or loss correctly. And in today's video, I'm going to break down step by step how to calculate and how to count pips using Euro USD. And by the end of the video, you will be able to calculate pips on your own. So without wasting any time, let's get the video started. Okay, so now what is a pip? So now, first of all, what you need to understand is that a pip stands for what we call percentage in points. So a pip stands for what we call percentage in point, and it is the smallest unit of measurement in forex. So wherever you're going to find a trader, you are going to find that trader saying price has moved maybe 10 pips in profit. You will find him saying price has moved 10 pips in profit, or price has hit my stop loss, which was maybe, let's say, 5 pips stop loss. So these are some things that you need to understand when it comes to measuring pips. The pips simply makes you understand that it is how we count in forex. That is the standard unit of measurement in forex. Because look at it in any other arena, look at it in every other aspect of life. When we are measuring, maybe let's say sugar, we are going to use what we call kilograms, right? When we are measuring distance, let's say a car has traveled like 10 kilometers, we are using distance as kilometers. So it's the same thing that applies in forex, but now we are going to be using that word pip. In most currencies, a pip is calculated by the fourth decimal point. The fourth decimal point is going to help you understand most of the currencies with their pips. So whenever the fourth decimal point changes by 1 point, by one number, that means that is 1 point, that is 1 pip that has changed. And you need to understand that you need to keep it as simple as that. Whenever you see the fourth decimal point, understand that if it changes, let's say if it was 1 and it changes to 2, that simply means that change is what we call a pip. Price has changed 1 pip. And you need to keep it as simple as that so that you can be able to understand it. So just like I told you, we are going to use the pair called Euro USD. So now this is a simple pair that you can actually trade, by the way, as a beginner trader, because it is friendly and it is not that volatile that it will easily blow your trading account. So let's assume that Euro USD moved from 1.105, and then let's assume it moved all the way to 1.1051. What has happened here is that the fourth decimal point, this fourth decimal point has actually changed, because we can clearly see that this one now, originally it was 0, but now it has changed to 1. So what does that mean for you as a trader? This simply means that if at all it has changed from all the way here and it has now changed into 1, price has moved, and that is what we count as a pip. If we observe the change here, the change that has happened on this move is that price has moved, and we have stayed, if we are to subtract all this, we have stayed with 0.0001. So that's 0.001. Now we have said that we are going to consider the fourth decimal point here, and that is what we call a pip, because now we are going to say that Euro USD has moved from this 1.1050 to 1.1051. Euro USD has moved a span of just 1 pip. So that is what we call 1 pip. So that is how you count a pip in simple terms. Okay, so now why do we use pips? Now, instead of saying that price has moved from 0.001 to 0.009, the traders are going to say that price has moved by only 10 pips. So what does that simply mean? It is simply easier to measure and calculate using that word pip. When you are using a pip like this, it is easy to calculate and measure the profits or loss. For example, let's say you want to say, I'm going to risk 10 pips. That means that your stop loss is going to be 10 pips. then my target, you will say my take profit is going to be at least 30 pips. So you can see that the word is actually coming out very well. It does not distract you, it does not confuse you. So one of the reasons as to why traders use these words is because they are easy and they can be easily calculated with simplicity and ease. So if you see Euro USD moving from 1.10000 to 1.10050, that is a 50 pip movement. That means that price has moved 50 pips, and in that process it is showing you that the movement of Euro USD has changed by the decimal point here, by this decimal point. And the moment you apply it into your trading, it is going to become easy for you, because pips are very, very important when we are trading, and you need to use them in a way that pick pairs that are going to suit you. All right, so now let's look at how to count these pips. So let's say we have our entry, and let's say we have our exit, and we have seen that our entry is going to be at 1.1050. Our exit is going to be 1.100. So our exit simply means that where we want to get out of the trade from. But our entry, that is where you want to look to take an opportunity and enter the trade in. So this will be our entry point where we are going to take the trade from, and this will be our exit point. So what we are going to do is subtract the entry from the exit. So it means that now we are going to ask ourselves, now let's do this as a subtraction. We are left with we are going to subtract our entry from our exit, because our entry is where we entered from, and our exit, that's where we want to get out of the trade from. So what it simply means is that now I'm going to subtract all these, and I'm left with, I think this is 0, then 0, then 5, 0. So that means that I'm going to be left with 50 pips. Otherwise it is going to be 0.0050. If it is Euro USD, that means that Euro USD has moved a span of just 50 pips. So that clearly shows you that a pip simplifies how you're doing your trading. It simplifies your entries and your exits. Another thing that you need to understand is that these decimal points are what are going to help you understand. When we have a point like this, it means that anything that is behind that point is what we call a decimal point. So to simplify your pip calculation, you're going to ask yourself, anything that is after the decimal point, how many movements have happened? This is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one, then this is the fourth one. So the fourth one is what is going to help you calculate the pips. So for example, why we got this as 5 is because this one was 0, but then 5 was moved here and it turned into 50 pips, and that is how you were easily able to get the 50 pip movement, because the rest are digit points and they are 0, 0. So that simply means that if you were trading Euro USD, let's say we were trading Euro USD, what it simply means now is that if you bought Euro USD at 1.1050, and then once price moved and reached this level at 1.110, rather 1.1100, that means that you gained 50 pips. You gained 50 pips as a trader. If at all it was a downtrend market and you sold from, let's say, 1.1050, that simply means that you gained 50 pips on the downside. So that is what it means as a trader, and that is how you can easily calculate the pips in the easiest way possible.